Lewis Hamilton disqualified from qualifying yesterday, sent to the back of the grid.
Yep, in today's video, we are reliving the 2021 Brazilian Grand Prix and stepping into the shoes of Lewis Hamilton back on F1 2021. It sounds so odd saying the full year name again in the F1 game name, but yeah, this was the last game before EA fully took over operations and changed the naming to how we have it now with F1 25 and the games in between. But back on F1 2021, we had a thing called Real Season Start in driver career mode, where you could actually dive into the middle of the real 2021 season and go on from there. And so that is what we are doing. We are jumping in at the Brazilian Grand Prix with Lewis Hamilton trailing Max Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship. We need to try and aim for the race win, but unfortunately we have got to start at the back of the grid. In real life, it was due to the disqualification of the rear wing touching foibles and also a main penalty for the Grand Prix proper because of a fresh engine. Now, on F1 2021, I actually forgot they didn't actually implement the sprint race weekend, so we can't fully relive Hamilton's whole Brazilian Grand Prix where he came through to 5th place, was it, in the sprint, then got pushed back by 5 places because of the penalty. You know, back then, sprint set the grid for the full race. Here on the 2021 game, it's pretty simple. We're just at the back, P20 in this 25% race around Brazil, donning Lewis Hamilton's Brazilian Grand Prix helmet as well, so really getting into the immersion levels as we hark back to 4 years ago at that Brazilian Grand Prix and try to emulate Hamilton by going from last to first. As we go to 5 red lights back in 2021, lights out, and we're on the way. It's a really good getaway versus the Williams of Latifi ahead of us. We're going to try and dive down the inside of Russell and the other Williams, and the F1 2021 AI really quite aggressive there as they really tried to squeeze me out, but we got the elbows and we've made up a couple of positions already, just like Hamilton did at the start of the real sprint in Sao Paulo. We're up to 15th place. It's Verstappen, of course, leading the way from Bottas, and I assume Verstappen's going to be running away with it, and it's going to be our job to try and close that gap. But that comes later in this first phase of this race, reliving this iconic comeback. We just have to make the moves left and right, but you've got to remember, an extra level of challenge here today is just the fact that we're back on the 2021 game. You know, it's been at least 3 years since I drove a single lap on this game in anger with my wheel, and my wheel is actually newer than the game. My wheel didn't exist, the T598 from Thrustmaster, when this game came out, so it feels a little bit off. I can't quite tell if it's just the game being a complete understeer fest to now the modern F1 games, or my wheel settings are a bit off, but man, oh man, it was just understeer central once you got down to like 2nd or 3rd gear. Like, you can just see how much wheel lock I have to put in. I suppose in a way also my muscle memory with my feet, it's just so used to that incredible amount of downforce from the ground effect era of cars we have, whereas this was all done with the aero. So mid-apex, there's actually a lot more grip and responsiveness, but it's just a different way to drive. You have to set up every corner so differently. So that's another layer to this challenge, is stepping in without any practice. Obviously we didn't do qualifying because we're starting from the back, so as we go through the race, I suspect we'll get quicker and quicker and more comfortable. And on that note, I've also started on the medium tire to go onto the soft, you know, basically vice versa for what everyone else is doing. So it's going to put us off a little bit offset from the strategy today of others, but should make us very fast at the end. But we made quick work of Lance Stroll, and Sonoda had to be a little bit frosty there with him as he wanted to completely shut the door on us. Gasly is a little bit welcoming in on the second part of the Senna S, and we're up to 10th place now. So we're into the points, making good progress, but now we're getting to some slightly quicker cars. We're now at Ocon in the Alpine, the blue and red Alpine. My God, the Alpine used to look so much better in this color scheme. I really do miss it. They had a good thing going, and BWT so stubborn with their color blocking and insistence on having that pink with the blue. I miss the blue and red, and really, honestly, a lot of us would like to see the blue and yellow coming back as we now close up to Fernando Alonso. He shuts the door on the inside. We move to the right, and it's iconic. And we go to an iconic camera angle as we go side by side with Fernando. That's taking me back. How many times have we had some epic fights to that corner back on this game in my team career mode? That was a nice trip down memory lane with that camera angle, as well as we now close up to Carlos Sainz, and we're going to go for the kamikaze dive bomb on the first of the two Ferraris. Of course, Ferrari equally not too strong in this season as they are in 2025, and hopefully we'll be able to close up to Leclerc then on this same lap, setting a purple first sector. So even though technically there'll be some tyre wear hitting us on the medium tyre, we're getting used to things, you know? It is coming to me, and kind of, it feels very alien still, I can't lie, 5 laps in, but the driving style is coming to me, you know? We're getting the knack of it of, okay, lift off here instead of going full throttle as it is on F1 25, then go full throttle mid-corner, roll the car in some gears where usually I'll be going down a further gear or staying in a higher gear. It is a very different driving style to 25 in a very clunky way, I must say. But like Hamilton, we're digging deep and we're driving through the clunkiness. It's a big dive bomb on his future Ferrari teammate as we bang tyres, and yeah, compared to F1 25, the AI on this game really just don't care. They just shut the door, and there's no sort of like, oh, I'll just like give you a little bit of room, which is kind of good and bad because it makes it difficult sometimes to go for that cheeky dive. But at the same time, actually welcoming the aggression here as we open up the DRS. And one thing that is brilliant on this game is the slipstream, and the DRS effect works perfectly. Don't have to overuse the battery, and I don't feel like the AI are pulling away from me on a lot of straights as we get the move on. Ricciardo in the McLaren. That now feels like quite a throwback, doesn't it? As we catch up to Lando Norris in the second McLaren in P4. Perez up the road, the first Red Bull, and we're going to see if he's going to be the Minister of Defence in this race, a few races earlier than the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix for us today in Sao Paulo. Norris DRS open, but we are going to send it to the inside. The McLaren gives us a little room to work with, but also tried to squeeze us, but wasn't as aggressive as we had to be with Leclerc's overtake, for example. And now we close up to Perez. This is going to be interesting. Is he going to put up a big fight? We can't quite get close enough for a dive here, but mid-apex, this Mercedes just gets hooked up here. We're making a little bit of contact because we're almost pushing Perez through the next left-hander. Now up the hill, and that is a feeble defense. Minister no more, and we're up into third place. Bottas 2 seconds up the road, but you can see Verstappen in a different planet, 5.5 seconds, as it was in 2021. You know, Lewis and Max just a complete level above the rest. Bottas comes in. This is going to be basically a fight of me catching Verstappen on the soft compound tyre, and then a direct battle, us versus him. But right now we need to worry about the pit stop. We come in slightly different pit stop procedure because there's no turning as it is on 25 I've grown accustomed to. I also got surprised on the formation lap as well that there was no you know, formation grid slot braking. That caught me off guard that it auto piloted me, but it's a good pit stop, 2.8. We actually get ahead of Leclerc, so that's actually a really crucial timing for that pit stop, to get ahead of Leclerc as he came down the pit lane, because that could have held us up. We had a little slight delay finding the pit limiter off button, and also the understeer kicked in very awkwardly, and I wasn't used to it in the pit lane exit, but we're fine now. We've come out behind Bottas still, but only now 1.2 instead of 2 seconds behind him. He's got Stroll for company ahead of him, so that's going to be a little concern for me in terms of Stroll will hold him up, and so we need to try and get past both these guys without losing too much time. We awkwardly catch Bottas into the end of Sector 2, onto Sector 3. You can see how much more grip we've got on the soft compound of tyre. Purple middle sector on the outlap this is. We overtake Bottas now up the hill, climbing, and looking to push Stroll through that corner basically, but he comes in off the soft compound of tyre. 11 laps he went on the softs. That's a bit crazy, but we push on. And 3 laps later, with 4 laps to go, we have closed up. We're in DRS of Verstappen. His AI is going to be a real tough one to overtake on this game. He was always coded so aggressively, so quick. He doesn't blink on the inside. We go to the outside, but dip a tire into the grass, and are we cracking under the pressure a little bit? Verstappen, he doesn't really flinch at all and kind of just let us kind of dilly-dally around trying to make a move. I was so insistent on trying to go to the inside and then kind of overdid it going to the outside. Now having to re-engage, and Verstappen is cool as ice at the moment in P1, but look at the Mercedes hooking up mid-corner. Can we go to the inside? Verstappen is parking the car so well. We get a little inch on the inside, but Verstappen closes the door, and this is what I mean. Top aggression, pin perfect accuracy on the defense there, opened it up, couldn't let us in, and now we have to just be very patient and stare at the back of that rear wing of the Red Bull. And we're quite lucky, you know, because that inside move could have ended in disaster in terms of my tyre hooking onto his rear tyre and spinning us out. So we live to fight for another day as we climb up the hill now for the second time, attempting a move on the main pit straight. This time we pulled to the outside a lot earlier. We're alongside Verstappen. We nearly bang tyres. We squeeze him. We're wheel to wheel, but ultimately he actually outbrakes us, and we actually opt to have the kind of secondary phase of the DRS to open it up on the left-hand side and try to emulate what Hamilton did in real life by cutting across, slamming the door shut. But this time we go wide. Just like in real life, we find ourselves outside on the green stuff as Lewis Hamilton, and Verstappen comes back at us now. On the outside he is, but we're this time able to get that inside apex speed to get ahead. But now he's the chaser, and Verstappen is the one with DRS, and he goes cleanly around the outside. Big lock-up, though, from the Dutchman as things are getting very tense. Everything's on the line. It's the second last lap. We go again, and this time so much more overspeed. DRS open battery, and this really is reliving Hamilton versus Verstappen as we cut across onto the main racing line to make sure there's no funny business, and we're now going to push on and flex the muscles of the Mercedes to try and break the 1 second gap to give us a bit of breathing room. And we come through to the final lap, the final sector, climbing the hill for one last time. We have relived the 2021 Brazilian Grand Prix. We have done it from last to first here in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, boy! That's how you do it, man. That is how you do it.
Yes! Come on, guys!
Yet another historic win under their belts. Well done to the team at Mercedes. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, Crofty, this was won through an abundance of speed and an abundance of skillful overtakes. Inside, outside, cutting underneath, we saw it all today. And it's really nice to see a Grand Prix won in that manner. A race, surely, that will satisfy the purists today, I think.
A lot of fun actually jumping back to an old F1 game and reliving an iconic moment. Maybe we should do this more often with real-life Grand Prix, reliving retro moments and older games. Let me know if you'd like to see that. But if you enjoy this one, hit the like button. If you are new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll catch you guys around. Goodbye.